Welcome everyone to yet another energizing conversation at ETHRWorld Women Trailblazers. I have with me Priya Mathilakath Pillai, Head HR, Corporate and Retail, Titan Company Limited. Priya has over 2 decades of varied experience with many global brands. She has played many parts on the corporate stage, from scaling FMCG business to creating brands to now crafting human capital strategy. She has spent large part of her career in retail and service industry like Unilever, Titan, and Mahindra Retail. Managed varied portfolios from sales, operations, human capital to heading the e-commerce business. In her current role, she heads HR for Titan's retail and corporate functions. Priya was also conferred the leading woman in retail by an international women leadership forum. So glad to have you here, Priya. Welcome.
Thank you, Apeksha, and it's an honor and pleasure to be here.
So to roll out this conversation, Priya, let me put forth the first question to you. So as an HR leader, what are some moments of self-doubt? I'm sure all of us have it, but specifically as an HR leader, you had, in your journey, especially during the pandemic, during all these uncertainties, and how you were able to manage them?
So, Apeksha, the toughest phase in the last 2 years has been the wave 2. And it has perhaps taught me the lessons of being vulnerable as well. It was a very tough phase because we also lost some of our colleagues, and in some cases, colleagues who lost some of their family members as well. So that was certainly the toughest phase for the organization and for me personally as well. Managing my own emotions and emotions of my team members, right? Because in many ways, my team and HR is like the first responder that you would have, let's say, in the society, or when you talk about people working in hospital, they are the first responders, right? But in an organization, the admin and the HR team were the first responders, besides the managers as well. So managing my own emotions, managing emotions of my team members, of my colleagues, and also families that got impacted was perhaps the toughest phase. And we were never, I don't think any management institute or any of our education curriculum has ever prepared us for this part of what we've gone through in the last 2 years. So we are never prepared for such a situation. And I would personally say, Apeksha, it is very important for us to recognize when we are going through our own emotional turmoil first. Because if you want to support somebody else, the first thing is to first make sure that you are fully resourced to support another person. And I reached out to my counselor who supported me during this time and helped me recognize and deal with my emotions first. Only if you have dealt with your own emotions can you support others. So during COVID, HR played this key role. And I think they were able to play this key role because we had this access of counselors that was provided to not only HR, to all our employees. But for HR, we actually did specific sessions where we told the counselors, how do you help them deal with the emotions of employees or families of employees, because they were the first responders. So building our own strength internally first before we support others would be my key learning from the pandemic.
Sure, Priya. Priya, I'm sure that there has been a lot of support system, like talked about counselor and all. So there have been a lot of support system from family and professional front as well, which have played a great role there. So do you think that being a leader yourself, you talked about catering to the demands of your own people in the organization. So do you think empathy is a key part of being a good leader, especially in difficult times?
Yes, empathy is the most important leadership skill for our troubled times. It has always been a critical skill for leaders, but I think it has taken a new shape and a new level of meaning and priority during these times. Far from a soft approach, it can drive significant business results itself. In fact, there are some surveys that I have seen, and these are from primary research, which actually tells you that in a business which has leaders which demonstrate empathy, it encourages innovation and it also helps people cope with stress. It also creates a very highly engaged and productive environment. In a vis-a-vis an organization where there is a lack of empathy, people feel undervalued and excluded. So demonstrating empathy is positive for people, but the new research also says that has a direct linkage to business results, it has direct linkage to innovation, and it has a direct linkage also to retention of employees. So great leadership requires a fine mix of all kinds of skills to create the condition of the right engagement for employees. There's a lot of conversation these days also about happiness of employees, right? So I think therefore empathy in leaders is an important ingredient for the happiness quotient of the employees. And not to mention the lag indicator really is the performance and productivity that comes in. So a global study by Qualtrics found that 42% of people have experienced a decline in mental health. And specifically 67% of people have experienced increase in stress. And I think if you have leaders who have got empathy as a key ingredient in their leadership style, you will be able to support this, because finally we are a microcosm of the society, right? So then leaders will be able to support the employees when they're going through this mental stress. So in my mind, empathy contributes to positive outcomes. It contributes to positive results for the business as well.
Sure, Priya. So we talk about, leaders overall, regardless of the gender, and also would like to talk something about women leaders in specific. So what is the one lesson or story you can share from your experience that is unique to being a woman leader in the HR space? I'm sure there are a lot many, but if you can, share one of them.
So Apeksha, like, the kind of introduction that you did earlier, I have come from perhaps a slightly different route to my HR role. I spent the first decade of my career in sales roles and then moved into the HR role, right? So I would say that what has really helped me in my journey or helped shape my journey, one is that the willingness to explore and the willingness to learn new things are extremely important. So I think that becomes a key ingredient to, I would say, not just women, for anybody to take on leadership roles. I think the different kinds of experiences and exposure that you are garnering or you are building for yourself is an important part of your journey. The second is that, we always advise all our managers and in the organization that, we don't look at, it's a gender neutral company, right? We don't look at, looking at, this role is for a man, this role is for a woman. So I would say for women also, it is very important that they don't apply this lens when they're looking at roles. Yeah, raise your hand for the roles, take risks, experiment, explore. I have seen that, when you take on different roles, they teach you different things. And there is the second part, I would say that, the first 10, 15 years of your experience is all about you are learning, right? You're contributing, but there's a lot more of learning that you're doing. The next part of your career, which is another 10, 15 years, is where you will gather all of this learning, synthesize it, and then start I would say contributing or adding value at greater levels in the organization. So the first 10, 15 years, you should simply explore, experiment, take on different roles, even explore geographies, because different geographies also have add value to the kind of experience you have. So from my perspective, what has helped me, Apeksha, is that I never looked at a role and said, can I do it or not? I would look at a role and say, if this role excites me, if this is a role that I am really excited to do, if I have the competencies to also deliver for the role, which is very important, I should raise my hand and I should go there. So, and one of the biggest challenge I have seen, Apeksha, in all my conversations with women, not just, I would say in Titan, I'm talking even otherwise, in conversations that I have had with women, they come with a lot of self-doubt. Yeah, women have this self-doubt, can I do it? In fact, there is, some science and data behind this. If a role is opened up today, and let's say you open it up equally to men and women, a man who's perhaps 50-60% ready for the role will raise their hand vis-a-vis a woman who's perhaps 80-90% who will not raise her hand. And there are enough data to support this. So this for me is something I advise the women in workforce, saying that, first you don't judge yourself. Before you tell that the world should not judge, you don't judge it yourself. Raise your hand, take on more roles. And if you want a role in HR, I have found benefit of doing business and then stepping into HR role. So if HR is something that you're looking at building a career, have an experience in business, because that adds tremendous value to the role in HR, because you start using the lens of business when you're looking at decisions in people or decisions regarding people.
Yeah, thank you, Priya. Those were some very wise and motivating words. So to conclude this discussion, Priya, very briefly, if you can please sum up your journey thus far and your vision for the future.
My personal journey, the way I have seen my professional journey, I would say is like there was a canvas which had boundaries, but the painting that has got painted in that canvas was my painting, what I wanted to picturize, right? So I have empowered myself to really draw what I want in that canvas. So the way I look at it is that my professional journey is a sum of experiences that I have really wanted to build. And therefore, that's the way I would sum up my professional journey. And I feel every woman has this canvas. Yeah. So are you willing to take that paintbrush, take all the colors which are there and paint the picture that you want that canvas to have? So that's the way I would sum up my journey. And I think I have been also grateful to be in organizations, have managers who have nurtured me, who have developed me, and who have a key role to play in where I am today. So it's building that support system. And most importantly, my family. Yeah, my family that has been my rock solid support in also this journey of professional and personal is a fine balance, right? You need to take care of your family and you need to also manage your professional career. So my family has been a core support in this. And besides this, all my people I've worked with in the last 26 years have shaped the career that I have today and shaped also the person that I am today. So really grateful to that. My vision for the future is, Apeksha, that there will be a day when organizations are not talking about how do I get more and more women at the workforce. It's already given. And the conversations are a lot more of a different agenda. I would say for me, the vision would be when gender is not a conversation about how do we bring more, how do we bring more equitable ratios. But I would say that for me, it is when there is equal representation and there is no bias. It's a world free of bias. That really would be the vision that I would have for the future.
Great thoughts, Priya. While we conclude this discussion, it was an absolute pleasure to have you here at this forum today. Thank you for taking out time, and pleasure hosting you at this very inspiring and energizing conversation. Thank you for joining us, Priya.
Thank you, Apeksha. Thank you so much. And wishing all our colleagues and all the women across the world a fabulous International Women's Day.
Thank you, Priya.